Good morning, everyone out there on the interwebs. My name is Jared, and this is my channel Mazda B3K. This is kind of a surprise video because there was something I noticed the other day, and I've started investigating it today, and found out that yes, there is a problem. So today, I'm going to show you how I investigated and how we are going to fix where your headlight switch in your 2010 Ford Fusion does not light up. So without further ado, let's get started. The other day, I was driving this Fusion home, and I went to turn on the headlights. I could not find the headlights. I had to grope around in the dark until I located the switch, which is here. And so I turned it on and I went on my merry way. But it bugged me. Why didn't the switch light up at night so I could easily see it? So I started digging. And what I found was that initially, no, the switch doesn't light up when it's off. But as soon as you put it in any of the on positions, it's supposed to light up. And as you can see, if we get close, it's not lighting up. There's no backlight at all. So I started digging some more. And I found out that the backlight for this switch is controlled by fuse number... See, here's our fuse panel. It is controlled by fuse number 10, which is where my thumb is. It's a 15 amp fuse, and that fuse controls a whole lot more than just this light. These are supposed to light up. This traction control button is supposed to light up. And there's some other things throughout the interior that are supposed to light up and are controlled by this switch, by this fuse. So I said, I need to investigate this fuse. Initially, I was investigating this, so I popped this panel out and I was looking at this switch module, but then I realized I needed to check a fuse. So the fuse box in your 2010 Fusion is buried, and when I mean buried, it is buried. It is really ridiculous to get to. It's back there. Now, I already have the cover off because, like I said, I was investigating. But right there, it's really hard to get to. So, a way to make life a little easier is go ahead, pop this panel off. So this is kind of cheating, but you can just pull on a switch. There's 4 inserts that hold this in, and they don't actually plug into anything. They just kind of firm up against this foamy material. Once you have that out of the way, you now have, go back to room. You now have a straight shot to the fuse box. You still have wires in the way, but at least you can stick your hand through the hole and do stuff. Now, to get the fuse cover off, there are 2 squeeze points on either side. So you squeeze them in like this and then pull back. It'll come off. It'll try to hang, but it'll come off. Now, inside of the cover, there is actually a fuse removal tool, which is this fella right here. It's basically a funky pair of pliers. Squeeze it at this end. You get this over the fuse, then you choke up your grip a little bit, put pressure there, pull the fuse out. If you never worked with fuses, you're about to get a crash course. So if I zoom back in, I mean really zoom in. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. The fuse we need to look at is the bottommost blue fuse on the left. That is fuse number 10. So I'm going to reach in there with this fuse removal tool, and then I'll bring you back. And there you have it. So I wanted to get a shot of this, if it'll clean up for me here. Come on, there we go. So this is specifically how the tool works. It has those plastic notches that if you can get them past the top lip of the fuse, it settles in right there, and then you just go boop, pull it right out. Okay, so you may be asking, well, what is a fuse? A fuse, they're still used quite a bit in various applications, but imagine them as being a one-time circuit breaker. What's a circuit breaker? A circuit breaker is a device that if too much current is getting pulled through a circuit, and a circuit being an electrical loop in a very, very, very simple explanation, that it will break the circuit, make it so it physically is not connected anymore to prevent damage to that circuit. You run too much power through something, things get hot, things get melty, things break, things catch on fire. None of those are good. So before we had circuit breakers like you have on the panel in your house, you had fuses, and cars still use fuses. The fuses have gotten smaller over the years, but they still use them. Fuses normally have a number that tell you how many amps that they will handle, and amps is current, before they pop. This is a 15 amp fuse, and I did check, and that is what the circuit calls for, is a 15 amp fuse. Now, most fuses also are translucent, so you can see if the fuse burned up and has physically separated itself so the circuit can't complete anymore. So when we take a look, you'll see, number one, it's pretty smoky in there, which in engineers' parlance, the magic smoke has been let out. It doesn't work anymore. And if you get really close, if it'll focus for me, you'll see that there's kind of a V shape in there, and the very top of the V is broken clean in two. So this fuse is done. It's smoked. There we go. That's a really good picture. It's a done, which means that circuit can't complete anymore, which is why those lights won't light up. Now, question number one should be, why did it burn out? Why did it pull too much power? Answer, I don't know. I don't know how long this has been broken. I haven't put a ton of time into this vehicle until recently because my wife wants to drive it daily, so I'm trying to make it good enough. She's not mechanically inclined, so I'm kind of cutting the problems off before they pop up. So I don't know why it smoked, but what we should be able to do is replace this with an appropriate sized fuse, meaning a 15 amp fuse, and one that's actually the correct size, because there are fuses smaller than this. They're called micros. I think this is a mini fuse, and everything should work again. Now, if it instantly smokes again, meaning it fails because it burns up in the middle there, then we have a problem. We have something that is shorting or is drawing too much current right off the bat, but we'll have to see. Now, at the moment, I don't have another 15 amp fuse that I can pop in. I'll just go to the store and buy another one, but if you're in a pinch, what you can do is snag a 15 amp or higher from another circuit in the fuse box that you don't need right at that second to get yourself home. Pop it in. Or if you're really, really desperate, and warning, do not do this. I'm saying it exists, but I do not recommend or condone it. You can take a piece of metal wire, or really old school mechanics would take chewing gum wrapper. Something with metal in it that will conduct electricity to close the circuit until you got home. But there's a very great risk you're going to set something on fire or break something if you do that. So don't do it. I repeat, don't. Anyway, I'm going to go buy a new fuse, and then we will see if that resolves the issue. All right, I'm back from town, and this is a brand new 15 amp fuse, and you can see that V there is complete. It's not burned out, and also the case is easier to see through. The magic smoke is still inside. It hasn't run away yet. Now, Fuses come in a bunch of different sizes. This is what is considered a mini. There's mini, micro, ATO, J case, then there's bigger ones. There's lots of sizes. So before you run to the parts store, don't be like me. Actually grab the old one so you can compare it to what's in the aisle. I figured it out, but all right. So I'm going to put this fuse back in, and then we just test. See if it works or not. Let me try to zoom in here. Get this out of the way. There we go. So you can see we've got it reinserted. It's that bottom blue fuse at the top of the picture there. When you push the fuse in, make sure you push it in firmly all the way. You'll kind of feel it seat. Now we test. So it should be, yeah, there we go. See how this is backlit now and that's backlit now. And we should be, this is backlit right here. It's kind of hard to see. Yep, it is. All right, that is a successful repair. Life is good. And also, I haven't put it back in yet, but when you're all done, don't forget to put your fuse panel back on. And normally fuse panels, this one has it too, or the cover has some slots to put extra fuses in. So you can see there's 4 right there. So I'm going to take the rest of these 15 amp, put them in there. Be good for a rainy day. Because with fuses, if you're just trying to test something, you can put a fuse that is equal to or bigger to what the circuit calls for your test. So let's say it was a 15 amp that we worked on today, and you happen to have a 25 amp lying around. You can put the 25 amp in, no problem, to do a test. But you don't want to leave it in there because it's going to allow more current to flow through that circuit than it should be able to. So potentially you could fry something. But for purposes of test, great. So it's always good to have a couple different sizes of fuse in your holder there. So if you do have them blow out in the middle of nowhere, you can at least try to limp yourself home. Alright guys, that is going to do it for our backlight troubleshoot on the headlight selector switch that turned into a fuse replacement. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like. Hopefully you learned something. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video. That helps me work towards getting the channel monetized so that I can do more with it. And just helps out the channel's growth in general. With that said, I will see you later.